Pablo Pereira is now here with the latest.
Yeah,
Pablo?
tough times.
All right, things are calm there tonight, but the cleanup continues. The tornadoes that hit in Forney fits the classification of what's known as an EF3 with winds of 150 miles per hour. It left residents in shock. Today was a day to assess the damage and start the cleanup. Lucky to be alive. That's the general feeling of people in North Texas today after numerous tornadoes skipped across the region, destroying hundreds of homes yesterday. In Forney, Texas, east of Dallas, more than 100 homes damaged. Of those, more than 20 completely destroyed. Although more than 150 people were injured across the region, surprisingly, no one was killed.
On TV at work, all I could see is this house. I want to thank God that everybody was safe. My wife just happened to leave to go pick up my son minutes before this tornado hit. There's some pictures, some valuable heirlooms that I lost that I won't get back.
Now, authorities say an alarm sounded just 14 minutes before the tornado struck Forney, and that, in fact, saved lives. And in Lancaster, Texas, south of Dallas, the damage was even worse. But again, surprisingly, nobody killed in the series of twisters early yesterday evening. Tonight, I spoke with Fox News reporter Isaiah Carey, who told me that those early warning systems and the time of day likely saved dozens, if not hundreds, of lives.
Well, we're hearing from meteorologists that they got on the air as soon as they realized tornadoes were headed for the area. And they had maybe 14 to 15 minutes lead time to warn the public here. And many in the community took heed to that warning. Also, a lot of people were at work when the tornadoes hit at around 1 to 1:30 in the afternoon. So a lot of notice from meteorologists in the area, the siren system that they have in the area, and a lot of people were at work. So that's why we didn't see a lot of loss of life here in the Texas area.
Isaiah, you've been through these types of storms before. I know you're a native Louisianan and have worked in Texas as I did. Have you ever seen such destruction in such a small concentrated area without loss of life like this before?
The only time I've ever seen anything that came close to this was back in the 1990s when I worked in Little Rock in the Fort Smith area. There was a lot of devastation to the downtown area, but we're talking about from South Dallas, Lancaster, east of Dallas. So we have a bigger magnitude of damage in this particular area. It is unreal. I wish I could show you more, but it's nighttime here, and you can't really see or appreciate the damage that we have in this small community of Lancaster, where there are about 37,000 people, and many of them are on a curfew at 8 o'clock Central. No one in or out of this particular community.
A lot of tornado warnings last maybe 15 minutes, half hour, an hour or so. These tornado warnings kept coming and coming and coming. What are the residents there telling you of how they dealt with that?
Well, they said when they saw the warnings on television, many of them were glued to their televisions, those who weren't working at the time. And one woman said she saw a tornado live on television, and she realized it was over her house. And so she immediately took cover, got into her bathtub in her restroom, and stayed there until the tornado passed over. And she says, just so happens, the very room that she was sitting in watching television was totally destroyed. So it's important that you pay attention to those weather alerts from meteorologists and the weather experts around the country.
A lot of good luck, they say, because of when this occurred, as you mentioned earlier, but in an interview after interview, we keep hearing about a lot of faith and prayer there, too.
Absolutely. A lot of people believe in prayer here, and they're giving, I guess, their blessings to God. They're thankful they're alive. On Tuesday, yesterday, when those tornadoes hit, they were very thankful that they were alive. But Wednesday now, they're still thankful, but reality is setting in for many of them that they've lost everything. And so it's kind of tough on those individuals, but they're still keeping the faith.
Well, a total of 18 confirmed tornadoes touched down during yesterday's outbreak. Tonight, as the cleanup continues, I can tell you from personal experience forecasting in weather in Texas for a number of years that state residents there know the danger is far from over because historically late April and May usually produce stronger and more deadly tornadoes than any other time of year. So this outbreak was not all that unusual, but more tornadoes to come over the next couple of months.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when it hits a metropolitan area, it is really, really tough.
Absolutely.
Yeah.